welcome to the third edition of the Let's Talk Rugby podcast. I'm your host today, Lewis. With me is Warriors player. Warriors back in backline. You played in center, you played at fly half, everything in the backline you played.
This coming season, I might even play in the park. So
Ruben, he wants to play as a loose head prop. And former Uganda Cranes captain, also a winner of the National League with Betway Corps, Brian Odong. Thank you for being with here today. So thank you for being here with us today. I'm sorry I'm fumbling, I'm fighting because tomorrow we have to beat Zimbabwe during their captain's run. Then during the game they will be weaker. So Uganda has to win. That's the general point. We are talking about Zimbabwe today. Because Uganda is playing Zimbabwe, and also talking about the battle for first place. Who goes to Japan automatically? Who goes to the representative tournament in November? Gentlemen, game day 7 this weekend. Uganda is playing Zimbabwe. Tunisia is hosting Morocco. And Kenya has traveled to Namibia for that decider at the top. First and foremost, how are our chances against Zimbabwe? Brian?
Basing on the form book and basically the past encounters between the two sides, I think Uganda stands an upper hand. We beat Zimbabwe in 2016 at their backyard, and we beat them last year at Legends. So, basing on the form book, I think Uganda stands a bigger chance. I'm sure the Zimbabweans come into this game a bit worried of us.
I don't know, do you share his line of thought?
yeah, definitely. I think Zimbabwe hates visiting Uganda in that perspective because whenever they come, even in the sevens, you saw how they lost to us agonizingly. But Saturday's visit might be a bit trickier because it's a do or die for them. If they lose, they're going back down. So I'm sure it's going to be a bigger fight than it has normally been.
Exactly, and Brian, this is what I want to ask you. Zimbabwe can't depend on the result in Tunisia, between Tunisia and Morocco. They have to win, and they have quite the pack. Their pack is quite heavy, and you saw how Morocco disturbed our pack. Do you think we shall be able to last the 80 minutes with our pack?
I'll give our pack one up in this one. I'm sure they'll own this game. If you watched Morocco-Zimbabwe, I think the Moroccans tormented Zimbabwe more than they got close to tormenting us. I think, actually, from the part I watched, I think we did better than Morocco. Could have just been 1 or 2 penalties due to small technicalities, but on the part of strength and the shoving, I think we outdid Morocco. So I recently read somewhere in one of the other sports pages, them saying rating our pack that we did badly against Morocco, and I was surprised. I thought Moroccans in the second half picked all eighth man pick in the back foot while backpedaling. Actually, at the times I was watching, I was seeing the Moroccan basically digging and picking the ball from under the hooker's feet. So I think our pack is good, and I know, at times scrum down is not about size; it's about unity, unison in the time of pushing. How much you train, then you get that one rhythm. When you get that rhythm, however small you are, you'll actually shove someone heavier. It's like pushing a car. If you go and push a car and one guy has taken the right leg forward, the other guy's right leg is at the back, the other person's hands are pushing, that car won't move. You'll get 2 people who are moving with a certain rhythm, and that car will move. So basically it's the same principle.
The Zimbabwean captain was quoted to say that they have worked very hard. They have watched our games. They worked very hard. They know Ugandans are runners. They don't want they want to give the ball to Uganda so much. Ruben, you've played in the backline so much. Do you see Uganda predominantly plays with a backline with our runners?
Definitely, because Uganda's style of play has always been our forwards give us the platform to allow the backs to actually do more. Reading somewhere as well, we were actually rated as the most exciting backline in this year's campaign. Yes, Namibia has done a lot. They have been a very good organized structure, but they don't have the kind of exciting brand that we have in our backline. So we just need to find that Uganda has to understand that this is our strength. And like the way you said, Zimbabwe's captain, Denford, was actually saying they actually paid too much attention on what Uganda has been doing. I'm sure that includes Morocco. And they're going to come with the same structure. They're going to want to keep it short, keep it in the small physical gaps. So that's what we have to avoid, not play their kind of game and make it all about us, give it to our runners. But of course, the forwards also have to do their job because they do a very big job that sometimes goes under the radar. But yeah, you can say that the back line is very good, but do not undermine our pack as well.
So I would love to think if Zimbabwe has paid too much attention to our back line, our forwards are the asset.
Definitely, our forwards have always been an asset. To 95% of people who watch the rugby game, there are certain things they will not be watching. While the scrum is going on, while the line-out is taking place, while racks are being hit, they're probably opening bottles of beer. Then they will turn on and watch when Philip has the ball. So they will not know what has happened to get to that point. Philip. Yes. So when Philip is stepping and everything, people are watching. When he's converting, people now start watching because they know his conversion rate is about 98%. But there's a lot of that. Most of the rugby game actually is played in a rack, scrum down. If you calculate the time spent in a rack, forwards walking to the line out, forwards winning the line out, defending a maul, hitting a rack. It's a lot of time, probably about 60 to 70% of the game. But that 30% is what people will watch. So our pack has stood out this season. For me, I would give them a 1.
Maybe to just add to that, in total agreement with Odong, you have to be at a certain technical level to really understand what the forwards do. Like how I wrote in my article this week, you find that our forwards, they do so much. Like, let me say, take for instance Brian Asava. The work he does, he's an unsung hero for Uganda. Like, he looks for the work, he slows down the play at the breakdown. But the fans, most of the fans are not going to look at that. They're going to look at when Philip gets the ball and uses his dancing feet. That's what they want to see. But if you're really technical, you would assess that and see how much work the forwards put in.
If I pick anything from what the two gentlemen are saying, people, when you get to rugby club, let's leave the beers after the game. Let's watch the forwards very well. Probably tomorrow we may miss a side save for Masuman Mugerwa, but that's a topic for another day. Let's go to Namibia. Namibia is hosting Kenya in what is a do or die. Whoever wins goes to Japan automatically. The loser has a second chance of fighting, but no one wants extra games. Brian, the last time Kenya beat Namibia was in 2014, qualifying for England World Cup, which they failed to qualify because Zimbabwe beat them in the last game. And Namibia did an amazing job against Madagascar. They went through. Since then, Namibia is super unbeaten against African teams. Is Kenya going to do it, or are they wasting our time?
I will not use the word wasting our time. For me, coming from the person who has played at international level and being a captain of Uganda, it's hard to predict for other countries because the spotlight can be on you, and some people may start thinking you become a pandit or something. But basing on form, I think Namibia will take it. I think Namibia is quite fast for the Kenyans. If you watch Namibia, Uganda, I thought Uganda is quite fast, but I think the Namibians, there are two things. There's speed of the players, then there's speed of the game, which Namibians have. I think if you go by pace, Uganda is quite fast. For us to have the slowest person in the back line being Michael Korat, who is not slow. If he goes to another country, he will be the fastest. True. But I think the speed at which that ball moves when Namibia is playing can't be defended. And seeing us tear Kenya apart at Ngong Road with speed, I think Namibians could have surely have watched that game and known that, okay, the weakness with Kenya is speed. Yes, up the speed, and we'll have try after try. But it will be an interesting game. Of course, the Kenyans know they have to throw everything into this one. No, but if it were Uganda playing Namibia in this last game, everybody would have thrown in everything that you can throw in. Probably would have slept also in I will not say shrine, because again, I would have slept in church hoping for a miracle to recover and play such a game, because you know that's a game of your life. Win it, and you don't even have to look back at the score. course, yes, Kenya needs to win by more than 7. They have to deny Namibia a point, something like that, and make sure they get a bonus point.
No, actually,
because the difference is about 3 points.
3 points.
So if Kenya gets 4 and Namibia gets 1, I don't know if they use head to head.
No, there's some mathematics actually at play, because if Kenya wins, if Kenya wins by if Kenya wins without a bonus point and Namibia gets a losing bonus point, there's some mathematics about, I think, Namibia losing a game at home, making them stay, making them be runners up, and Kenya having that.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't know.
I read some
rugby have some funny
publication.
dynamics.
I read some publications.
Drawn points and what, which surely I do not know the dynamics. I do not know the inner details to that.
I think under normal circumstances, it's supposed to be points, because if you are looking at the statistics, you'd find that points accumulated, Namibia has 296. Kenya has 96.
Yeah,
so it would be ridiculous
Kenya
for them to actually pick Kenya.
101. Yeah. Kenya has to beat them by 101.
Yeah.
Ouch. And that's not happening. Oliver Mangeni has been a star, has been a menace in that track. He's going up against I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman. He was quite menacing as well against Zimbabwe. I think he scored a try and also made one. What role do you think Oliver is going to play for Kenya?
Well, I think looking at Oliver Mangeni, he's the typical Kenyan, if you can say, very arrogant in his play, and very aggressive. And like you saw, we put out something on Kratos. It was talking about who's the better jumper. Was it Simon Olet in Uganda, or was it Charles Uhuru? Then there was a Kenyan gentleman that commented, Oliver Mangeni, just showing you that how dominant he has been this campaign. He came here to Kampala, he literally, as if he has been training with us. He was stealing our lineouts for fun. On top of that, he knows how to read their scrum of Samson or Somu. He knows how he plays, so he's always going to the gaps. On top of his lineout work, he knows how to use his aggression to put him in gaps and not at people. When he runs in gaps for a big fellow, he's very dangerous, putting Kenya on the front foot.
Kenya have leaked in very many points with respect to Namibia. Do you think that would change, or is Namibia going to be tight at the back and very, very lethal up front?
One thing about I think the Namibians is they have that experience. They have guys who play professionally in South Africa. They have handled such situations before. The pressure will be more on Kenya. The Namibians, of course, yes, you're hosting a game, your fans are behind you. You have some pressure on home turf. But you see, if you've done it over and over, if you've been qualifying for the World Cup, you almost expect it to be a natural. So you're going into that game with less pressure. Kenyans will be under more pressure. They are away from home. They know they have to start that game quite fast and pile the points. You cannot wait. You can't visit someone on their home turf and hope to chase. It's easier. Your job is easier if you start the game and pile on the points, which Kenya needs to do. From warm-up, they need to be up for this game. If they take it lightly, then I think Namibia will take it. But if Kenya, one thing I keep telling people about Kenya is, if you've watched football, Chelsea, I liken Kenya to Chelsea. You go in a game, you outplay them, you do everything, but you fail to beat them. So that's one thing about Kenya. They know how to win. We played some games. I remember sometime in 2010, we went at Ngong Road and probably had 77% possession, but the score was 21-5, Kenya won. They did the part of scoring, we did the part of playing. They are hard to beat. We had games where we outplayed Kenya. Sometime in 2012 in Tunisia, Africa Cup semi-finals. We outplayed Kenya totally, but we won the game by a kick that curved in the last minute. The Kenyans would pile pressure, score a try. They score us after kickoff. They know how to score. They have some efficiency. They play with a certain efficiency and just know how to draft games. If you looked at that last time they beat Namibia, Namibia actually started the game, piled on points. Shockingly, Kenya came back and won the game, and Namibians looked burnt out by like 60 minutes. And you could tell that Kenya is taking this game.
And it's not Kenya's style to come back in the game. They're always the guys that lead with the pressure, and then the opponent comes back later. So I think you've heard it from the gentleman, a very experienced rugby player and a very experienced upcoming rugby player as well. Robert.
Retired.
But
Retired. He's old.
you can't retire. You're 20 how long?
My age is not the issue right now.
I don't want us to overlook the game in North Africa, Morocco and Tunisia. If Zimbabwe by some chance survive, Morocco is going down. But Morocco have played very, very well. They gave Uganda a run for their money. They went to Zimbabwe and picked a draw from Zimbabwe. Tunisia almost shocked Uganda in the first minutes, but Uganda recovered. Then they beat Zimbabwe in Tunis. What do you rate about this game?
It's a North African derby.
Sure.
It's going to be very aggressive. Both teams know how to bring on the aggro. I think Morocco have the edge in this one. I think Morocco are a way more organized side. They are faster and I think they are fitter. So I think they will take this one. Though it might be by a narrow win, but I think Morocco will edge out Tunisia.
Ben?
Everyone is looking at the top, but the Kavuyo at the bottom allow me to use Uganda. The Kavuyo is immense, because that's why I'm telling you, Zimbabwe coming to Kampala, it's not going to be as easy as it normally is. Because the other side, derbies, anything can happen. But judging from how I've seen Tunisia and how I've seen Morocco, I would also give it to Morocco. They seem more organized, and at least they can last the longer fold, let me say. Because Tunisia started well, but they burnt out so quickly. And at least Morocco showed the comeback. So I'm going to give them the upper hand, based on the fact that they have their mental progress better than Tunisia.
Okay, before we end this, Gold Cup winner? World Cup winner?
Namibia.
Uganda, Zimbabwe?
Uganda 36-20.
Man of the match?
Again.
Uganda, Zimbabwe?
Uganda, Zimbabwe, I will not give a score, but I'll give the margin. Uganda by 14.
And your man of the match?
Man of the match, two options, if I may. Michael Korach, Asuman Mugero.
Gentlemen and ladies watching us, Brian is very, very loyal. He has mentioned out his closest pals while he was still in the
front
team.
row.
Michael, and of course the front row buddy in Asuman. And if that doesn't come to pass, we shall get you Brian's address and we'll find him and argue with him on why he chose those players. But from us here, that's all for this week, and we'll see you next week after Uganda has beaten Zimbabwe, because I'm sure Uganda is going to beat Zimbabwe. Thank you.